I have been fired from quite a few things. I was fired from Autocar, I was fired from the civil service, I was fired from Car Magazine. Oh, I worked for a Volvo dealership, but I got fired from that.
What for?
Can't really say. Hi, my name is James May. I'm about to give you a guide to getting fired with the caveat that my advice to people is that 90% of all advice is rubbish. Me being fired from Autocar, now this is something that happened a very long time ago, 1992. Well, I was bored, to be honest, and I had the job of putting together what we called the road test yearbook. So it was 100 road tests from that year, and each one started with a great big red letter, because that was very fashionable in magazine design. And it was my job to edit it and assemble it. So I changed all the beginnings of the stories, rewrote the first sentences so that the big red letters spelled out a message about me being bored doing it, and it said, so you think this is really good, but you should try making it up, it's a real pain in the arse, which I thought was hilarious, but the management didn't. I was called into the managing director's office, and he was in a steaming range going, what were you thinking of? You know, and I think, well, I thought it was quite a good idea. I don't really understand what their beef was, because it'd been stories in The Sun and the Mail, it had made it into the UK Press Gazette. I think it had been mentioned on the radio. It was great publicity, and that issue sold out, and it's now quite collectible and worth a couple of £100 at sort of specialist car magazine stalls at motor shows. But they didn't like it. And they fired me, and I had to walk home. I had a company car then with Autocar, but I wasn't allowed to take it, so I had to walk. It was about 8 miles. I have been fired from quite a few things. I'd have to think carefully to compile the whole list. I mean, it started before Autocar. I was fired from the civil service for not turning up at work, which I suppose was fair enough. I was fired from Autocar. I was fired from Top Gear twice before I finally went back to Top Gear. So I was fired from the magazine. I was fired from Car Magazine because I'd appeared on Top Gear. Then I was fired from Top Gear, so I wasn't used on Top Gear magazine anymore. I used to write for Country Life and the Scotland on Sunday. They both fired me because they decided I was too expensive or too old or too communistical, I don't know. Oh, I worked for a Volvo dealership, but I got fired from that.
What for?
Can't really say. It's not family viewing.
You also said that you were fired from a sweet shop for stealing sweets, is that true?
Oh yes, I was. Yes, I was. It was a kiosk rather than a shop, but I was accused of eating the ice cream and nicking some of the sweets, and that was 40 years ago, and I can now, I think, safely admit that yes, I did. I don't think this is the result of bad luck. I think it's because I was a bit crap when I was younger. I still am a bit. If you've just lost your job, through your own fault, which is generally how I lost mine, then, well, it's your own fault. If you've been unfortunate, been made redundant, as business people would say, don't see it as a problem, see it as an opportunity. Rethink what you might like to do. Maybe you didn't like your job anyway. Have a go at something else. Learn something new. Don't be disheartened. Don't assume that it's all over, because it may be a new beginning. If it were me, I would go on some sort of adult education course, a lot of which are completely free, and learn plumbing probably, or woodwork. There's tons and tons of stuff you can learn, and it would be a great luxury to go and learn something new, I think. So. And the other trick is, I learned this, walk everywhere. You'd be amazed the amount of money you save by simply walking everywhere. Be wary of watching too much daytime TV, unless it's something like Cash in the Attic, which is brilliant. And be very wary of what you leave in the fridge, because if you're bored and slightly directionless, you will tend to open the door, and if there's a pork pie there, you will eat it. Going to the lavatory in Japan is one of the highlights of the human existence. There's one area of cutting-edge tech where Japan definitely sits on the throne.
Here's something we need to address, Yujiro.
Toilets.
The Japanese kazi.
The joy of the Japanese lavatory is that it often plays tunes. The seat is always heated. There you can set different temperatures for the seats. It will blow various temperature and pressure jets of hot, fresh water up your ass to clean it off, and it will dry it off as well. And there are even some, although I haven't tried one of these, there are some that will analyse your stools and advise you to, for example, drink less sake or eat more noodles.
This very helpful little graphic means arse wash.
Yes, ass, yes.
And some of them play a tune as well, don't they?
Yes.
So that if you do a big fart, you're not embarrassed. Is that right?
Oh, I love Japanese. Going to the lavatory in Japan is one of the highlights of the human existence. It's fantastic. And it's one of the reasons Japan works so well. I've said this before in columns I wrote for car magazines, actually. If you go to, say, a Toyota factory and then, let's be honest, go for a dump, you will see why Toyotas are reliable and well made and very dependable. Because if you give your workforce that sort of quality of crapper, they're going to be happy in their work. Now, I also, in the olden days, went to things like the ZIL factory in Russia and the Lada factory in Russia, where the bogs are simply atrocious. They look as if Bobby Sands lives in them, and as a result of that, those cars are not so well made and not so reliable. The things by which you judge a nation are its national airline and its bogs.
The latest models have these automatic, self-washing, program. It cleans itself.
Ooh,
the latest model. Latest
right,
model.
okay.
But
Well, that's why this is expensive one.
absolutely. But if you can adjust how strong you want the water to, clean your ass or your,
Yes.
your bidet,
Yes,
your sensitive crotch.
Yes. Okay.
You can even wash your face with this, You can. I mean, theoretically. When you press the hip, the water comes out. You can theoretically, but you don't have to.
But
Yes.
If you're in the very north of Japan, in Hokkaido, as we were in the winter, the end of winter, it's very cold. Sometimes your simple Japanese hotel room can be quite cold, and you might wake up in the night thinking, I'm a bit chilly. All you need to do is go and sit on the pan for 5 minutes because the seat's really hot and it just warms you up, then you can get back into bed and it's all fine.
Would you like one in your house?
I'm building a new house and I'm thinking of installing. Yes, they're expensive, but you can't put a price on a good shit.